All right, hello. So today we're going to go over, kind of basics of system administration right now with GitHub, Visual Studio Code, a little overview of PowerShell and Azure, connecting your Azure, subscription to your PowerShell terminal. And so for that, we've created a README form on our GitHub that if you scroll down, it's got everything in it, and it's separated through different, markdown kind of templates. So getting started with GitHub, let's go to the GitHub overview real quick. And GitHub's it's really important because it's source control. You can start to code, you can see what other people are doing, you can get other people's code, you can have other people contribute to your code, and I think it's it's really beneficial for the community. And so to do that, first we're going to start off by installing Git onto our machines. And if you don't have it, here's a link to it. Make sure you're getting it for your current uh, operating system that you want. And then after that, we just have to make sure we're signed up for GitHub. So, username, email, password, boom, sign up. It's that easy. And then after that, we're going to go in and we're going to create our first repository. Repositories, pretty simple to make. It's basically just a folder on GitHub of where you're going to store your stuff. And then all you got to do is be able to, pull your stuff down from VS Code or wherever. VS Code we're going to be going over later. So for right now, Josh is going to go over an example real quick on how to make a repository, just real quick.
Drawing a blank.
Okay, so yeah, creating a repository. We're gonna go click that new button right next to repositories. Boom, and then out of there, it's going to give us our repository name. We're going to choose, something short, something that you can easily get to if you're doing it yourself as a part of the source control, knowing what's going in what. Then give it a description if you want. You can either make it public or private. Public, everybody can see it. Private, only the people you invite to collaborate will be able to see it. You're going to want to add a README file, and this is beneficial because anybody on the outside that wants to know what you're doing or kind of get a slight overview of what you're doing, you can add that into the README file, and then they don't have to go sifting through your code and kind of find what you're doing. You can don't worry about git ignore. So when you choose the license, you're going to want to choose the MIT license. This license, beneficial for most open source projects. If you're looking to get any more information on licenses, you can go ahead and go down to our README and follow the link path. Yep, and then finishing the repository, you click the repository, create, boom, there it is. There's his repository, there's his README. If he wants to go in there and edit, write what's going on what, then he can do that. That's kind of written in Markdown language, so it gives you a little bit of experience. If you don't know, what Markdown language is, it's easy to use your favorite search engine. You can go in and figure out what's going where, but Markdown language is pretty upfront. All right, and that's pretty much all I have for GitHub. Do you have anything on that, Josh?
No, aside from creating the account and then linking it, and then just using that URL or using a link for anybody around you that you want to see your the things you're creating. Seems about it.
Yep, gotcha. All right, so now we're gonna go into Visual Studio Code, otherwise known as VS Code. It's an IDE, which is an integrated development, environment. It's where you're going to write your code. It's where you're going to be able to pull everything down from GitHub, edit things, work in a team and collaborative manner. The thing I love most about VS Code versus using things like an ISE on PowerShell or your Notepad is you know the convenience of everything, in my opinion, and the extensions. So one of the best benefits is installing a language extension. You go in, you click the little builder blocks, whatever you want to work with. All you have to do is you have to search the name. Josh will walk us through that real quick on Azure Resource Manager.
When you're doing the actual installation of VS Code, there's a quite a few windows of various options, but most of them you'll be able to leave blank. I believe there's an option for Linux versus Windows in there as well, so you can kind of pick your flavor. But after that, once you get into the actual extensions, you just go into this bottom left one, and it'll have this little pop out. In there, if you're doing Azure Resource Manager, would probably be the most helpful one for what we are doing. So all you do is type in what it is. You may be able to do ARM as well. It'll come up. Click on the first one, and then to install. That one's not it, so do the second one. And then when you install, it'll take maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And then after that, your installation is complete, and you're pretty much up and running, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I think that's super beneficial. I'm pretty sure there's another extension for GitHub if you want to just type in GIT up in your search bar. Maybe GitHub.
Pull.
Go down, the 2 down, up, down. Yep, the one that says GitHub. Yeah, we'll go ahead and install GitHub. So going through GitHub Extensions, it creates the availability to work with VS Code through GitHub. So those repositories and everything, if you go through the features, it's telling you that you can create and open pull requests. You can go through and do git push, git pull. You can see what's going on in repositories. You can pull in whole new repositories, and I think that's really great. So let's go back to our file editor real quick in VS Code. Sorry. So right above the magnifying glass, boom, we're going to go to File. We can close out of the Extensions tab too. So New File, boom. And then we can close out of the Extensions tab for GitHub. And then this file, go ahead and Control S. All right, so we're going to save it as, test. Yep. Okay, so no, we got to go through and save it as test.json. So Control S.
Can you change it?
Control S. Okay, so save as, boom, test.json. Boom, so you can see in the lower right-hand corner, it's showing that it's a JSON file because it's saved as a JSON file. So everything that goes on in it, it's going to read as JSON. And I think what's nifty about it is if you want to open up the editors on the left-hand side, you can see it in there, and it gives you the mini picture of the icon of what language you're speaking or you're writing in. So it kind of gives you like, oh, I was running this and that, I was doing this and that. I think that's pretty beneficial. Another thing, since Josh did install the ARM template extension on his VS Code, all he has to do now is go into his JSON file and type in ARM. The first thing that comes up, press enter, and boom. You notice that the entire ARM schema kind of came down, and you can notice in the lower right-hand corner how it changed from JSON to Azure Resource Manager template, and that's because of the extension. So that is pretty much that for VS Code. Pretty basic stuff.